Hello everyone, today I'm painting Tsukuyomi from the Rising Sun board game. As per usual, I've primed in black with a white zenithal highlight from above. The first paint we're using is ash gray, although any sort of mid-toned gray will work because what I'm going to be doing is working a gradient from kind of the mid-gray all the way up to white. Kind of working from the top to the bottom, trying to get these folds of cloth going right. Tsukuyomi is really just kind of a monochrome figure, but there are a few splashes of color here and there. Next base color is Evil Sun Scarlet from Citadel. This is I don't really know what this thing at the top is, some sort of shield thing, but there's starting to start orange on the bottom, goes a little bit lighter, and then to the white. We're going to pick up more on that later with some stippling. It has kind of a hammer pounded texture to it, so that'll work out nice for it. Now we've got the hands here, kind of doing just an undercoating for this for getting some flesh tones on later. This is kind of an opening to the shroud. Just a light color here. I've got white, but it could be any of the grays. We're just doing kind of an undercoat and stippling in some of the light colors. Now that the whole thing is base colored in, we're going to drown it in normal oil. Of course, always come back and mop up the excess onto the flat surfaces. Now moving on to the highlighting. Going to be using also one gray here, and it's pretty much a mirror of the base coat, but we're keeping some distance away from the edges. I've been kind of sticking to the concept art on this, but of course you could always change some of the tones on this, especially with like that sash ribbon in the back and front. There are deep folds in the back here, which should give you a good opportunity to have some good contrast in the back. In the game itself, Tsukuyomi helps you get coins, both as from the temple worship and from the gameplay on the board. Now moving on to the matte white, this will be the kind of final highlight. I didn't really do any blending in before, but all the colors are pretty close. That from the tabletop quality distance that I'm shooting for, you don't really see it. I'm really just kind of working around the model, hitting the raised portions or the very outer 20% from the edge. With the robe highlights pretty much done, now I'm moving on to the hair where I'm using German gray. This is consistent with how I paint most of the other Rising Sun figures that I have. I thin it down pretty well so that you can still see right through it. Not shown, but I put a flesh colored over the hands here. Now I'm putting a flesh wash over it. Some of the figures like Ryujin have this kind of red background around the skin tones, so I captured that here. Now I'm not really sure what this thing is, some sort of shield holder. Anyway, I painted that brown. I thought this bow or club or whatever this thing is looked a little bit odd being the same color as everything else, so I just put a flesh wash on it to try to distinguish it from the rest of the figure. Now back to this shield thing in the back again, just kind of stippling everything. I darkened it up with the Nolan oil before, but which also kind of brought it together. So now I'm gonna stipple the top and bring it down in through the orange. Same for this opening in the shroud here, just stippling in dots. Now back to the weapon here, I've got the white to give a highlight to everything, but still showing that flesh wash tinge from below. Now on to the weapon here, we're going to put in some blood effects. I just chose 3 different tones of red, dark, medium and light, and just kind of smushed them in there and blended them very, very loosely. Later I went back in with white to fill in some areas, make it more of a splatter, I guess. Now I'm just checking over the model and looking for other things to give a highlight. The top edges here, for example, and a few other small places on the back. Finish up by painting the rim black. And that's it. Just kind of a quick model, mostly the same color. Thanks for watching.